What's going on, you guys? In this video, I'm going to be teaching about a topic. It's kind of going to be like a nerd training topic, all right? So it's going to be especially well geared for yous that are already putting in work in the gym with gaining muscle and strength. The topic's going to be about feeder sets, which is a specific technique used with the warm-up type sets leading up to the top sets of an exercise. All right? So please stay tuned. And again, reiterate, so this is going to be a great topic, more geared for those that are already actively working in the gym. Not doesn't have to be super experienced, but you've already been working, perhaps even for some time, and you probably already know what this is. I'm going to give my take on it, what my opinion is, if it's ever has good use, when it could be used, and kind of how I would use it more. And listen, for those of you who aren't really actively training in the gym yet, you maybe have no clue what I'm talking about yet. You can learn from this, and it's going to be a little trickier for yous versus those that are already putting in work in the gym. But this is something still it'll get on your agenda, something to be learning about, because you're going to be getting in the gym soon and putting in work if you're not already. And this is going to be something that's going to be helpful for you to kind of get on the stove on the back burner, and so that way you can learn something from it still too. So everyone, please stay tuned, please subscribe, and again, follow my Instagram as well at Nick Venuto Fitness, and let's get right into this, guys. All right. So what are feeder sets? So feeder sets are kind of like lower level sets that you're going to use in the process of warming up before you get to your top sets. When you're working to gain muscle and strength, very typically the kind of rep ranges that are cited that's best for that is between 10 to 20 reps, between 8 to 20 reps are the kind of ranges that get linked. And really it's those rep ranges can be even wider, but that's in general. Those are the two kind of most common ranges you're going to hear for. These are the best rep ranges to gain muscle in: 8 to 20 or 10 to 20. So that's what's very commonly going to be cited. Now, a feeder set would be like if you did a fewer amount of reps on certain warm-up sets in order to basically preserve. The purpose is to try to preserve energy for your top sets, so you build up less cumulative fatigue in those earlier warm-up sets for when you then get into your top sets, i.e. your heavier sets, or the sets that you're trying to go more all out or get closer to failure, which are typically going to be heavier sets, right? With heavier loads, heavier weights. Okay, so typical way someone might be doing warm-ups, they could be doing say they're doing 4 sets of an exercise. Maybe they are doing just 10 reps every single set, or maybe they're doing more of like a, they're going to go start with 20 reps, then 15, then 12, then 10. Could be 15, 12, 10, 10, or 8. A feeder set, the application, and this is after you're properly warmed up, but that's what I'm going to get into with one of my concerns with feeder sets. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll disclose that before I really get into why, the full extent, but a feeder set might be more, instead of doing that, starting in just all bodybuilding rep ranges, feeder set might be maybe the first warm-up set you take 10 to 20 reps of something super light. But then maybe you're only doing like 3 to 5 reps going up until you get to your top sets. I've even seen people have applications doing 1 rep or 2 reps or 3 reps on feeder sets working up in an effort to just preserve their energy. And the theory behind it, it's smart in a way. It is. You're not going to be depleting your glycogen levels as much doing it that way versus working closer to a point of muscle failure. And it's gonna, should in theory tax your central nervous system less as well before you get to your top sets. It just basically, you're trying to keep your cumulative fatigue as low as you can before you get to your top sets by using feeder sets, where you're doing fewer than the typical kind of rep ranges you would normally work on for your goals. That's the idea behind it. And again, the application could be, even if you're doing 5 to 8 reps, you could classify as almost like more of a feeder set. There's different ways it's applied, but and this isn't just gym bros. A lot of them will do it, yeah, because this is kind of like, it can go along with ego lifting, where it may not be bad form ego lifting, but it could be ego lifting where you're doing these things just to try to get to as heavy of weights as possible, on your top sets for an exercise. but these are top. I've seen top pros using this technique as well. For example, Chris Bumstead, I've seen him use this, and it typically goes along with younger lifters do this more often. But yeah, I mean, older lifters could do it too, but this definitely goes a lot more with younger lifters. Um, anyways, so that is just checking my mics on. I had it go off once, and I had to reshoot. Okay, so that's kind of what feeder sets are. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Give you some insights. Now transitioning into kind of my take on them. I already disclosed I'm not a really big fan of them. I definitely don't think it's a good idea with taking, when you're working to gain muscle and even gain strength, which I differentiate from gaining power. Power is strength with speed. Anyways, I'm not a fan of them for when you're looking to build muscle and get stronger. And the reason being is to do with just priming your body properly and properly warming up not only muscles but with joints and such. Okay, so there's a balance level with getting warmed up and building up too much fatigue where you're just taking away from top sets. But with top sets, the more you go up in weight, other things equal, even if you have good form and you otherwise your body is situated to handle that weight, that's increasing risk as well. And the body is pretty resilient. You can do things for a time before all of a sudden something gives out, or you have a problem come up, or just or whatever, something that just takes a little time to build, not something just snappity snap happens like that. Things can materialize over time. So with this is the same way even with powerlifters. They're not constantly trying to lift the maximum amount of weights that they can. So why should bodybuilders be doing it? And some of these that are doing these feeder sets, they may be more strategic with their periodization approaches and stuff so that they're not constantly hammering it. But some aren't either. Okay. So I'm not saying it's like a stupid, terrible idea, but I'm not a real big fan of feeder sets. Um, Especially the more advanced you get and the stronger you get, and presumably you're an older, more seasoned lifter too, who not only counting the lifting side, but just what happens to the body as you get older is it degenerates, other things equal. Okay. And basically with us lifting and doing all the things we should be doing with not just bodybuilding and fitness stuff, but just with eating the way we should, just as a healthy individual, with lifestyle related, with just exercise, with moving our bodies. We're just always kind of going against the grain to try to preserve ourselves from the inevitable decline. That's how it works. Not to be morbid, it's just how it is. We don't live forever, right? And the body does degenerate. Joints wear, muscles will weaken, other things equal. But so we're always just going. We're trying to minimize that. We're obviously always trying to strengthen ourselves, and we're trying to minimize that too. Okay, we're trying to get our baseline high as well, so that way we're going to be less worse off than if you didn't do anything. That really is what we're doing partly with training and fitness. It's not all with making gains. It's also with trying to minimize subsequent losses is what we're doing. Anyways, with that kind of a theory with what's happening, younger lifters can be the ones that are be more keen where they have lower risks to try to employ these techniques with feeder sets in these attempts to try to get to the highest type of weights that they can with a feeder set versus just doing standard 10 to 20 reps every single set you do. Okay, they're not as strong yet. They don't have as much wear and tear because they're more likely to be younger. There's definitely less wear and tear with a younger training age. They haven't been in the gym as much. They haven't sustained as many injuries, even if they're not full-on injuries, but just the wear and tears that happen, the asymmetries and imbalances that everyone has just genetically, everyone's predisposition to, and that which just do develop over time. As a result of training, as much as we try to do things balance it, everyone just has things that they have more propensities to do. We're not wired perfectly. Okay, so when these things are working that way, there are higher risk levels the more of those types of risk factors I mentioned you had, with higher training age, with more injuries, with more imbalances. Those are higher risk factors the heavier you go, even with good form, right? And and so younger lifters, can get a lot of gains this way. I don't know if I ever was warming up with 1 to 3 reps with sets, but I did train closer to this style at times as well before I was as big as I was. And I don't know if I ever did 1 to 3 type of reps, but maybe more like a feeder set for me would be more like 5s to 8s. And I don't typically employ those anymore, not in the same kind of format. I'll give you an example. I used to start out every workout with barbell compound lifts, or maybe they were free weights with dumbbells, right? If I was doing chest presses or whatever, a lot of times I like to do free weight dumbbells instead. But anyways, you get the idea. I was doing free weight compound lifts, typically with barbells. That was the first movement I would do. And it'd be a little bit of a dynamic warm up to start. But basically, I was getting right in, and the kind of feeder sets would be getting employed, 5 to 8 reps on exercises typically. Or, a lot of times I think it was 5s I was using to work up with the kind of main type of lifts, like with squats, deadlifts, bench presses, even pull-ups. I was doing weighted pull-ups. That was the way I used it. I never did 1 reps and 3 reps going up, or probably very little, maybe certain times when I was trying to gain strength in a 3 to 5 rep range. But, I've done those kinds of styles. It is very conducive with being able to just lift as high up towards your 1 rep maxes and your 3 rep maxes, your 5 rep maxes, and 10 rep maxes as close as you can, where you get those 3 reps at your 3 rep max, or you get those 5 reps at your 5 rep max. It's very conducive for getting those kinds of numbers. Okay, but the more advanced you get, it's you can't just constantly be trying to get your 1 rep max for 1 rep, your 3 rep max for 3 reps, your 10 rep max for 10 reps. It's not as conducive. It becomes safer to be just warming up more, priming the body more, which you do that to a great enough degree, it does lead to more cumulative fatigue. You won't be able to lift as heavy. You're not going to be able to get your 10 rep max for 10 reps. You might have to be doing your 12 to 14 rep max for the 10 reps, or maybe your 11 rep max for the 10 reps even, or your 10 rep max, you only get 8 reps, or whatever, your 8 rep max, you get 6 or 7 maybe on a ladder set, and then get a little spot resistance, right? But it's because it's not just one factor. With more weight is bad, less weight is good. I'm not saying that, but it's also the factor with how primed is your body for the movement. And that can be at a lightweight or a heavyweight. It could be either, guys. It could be either, anywhere from your 1 rep max to your 10 rep max. All, other things equal, it is better to have your joints more lubricated and your muscles more already firing before you got to that heavier weight. And feeder sets are just, other things equal, are not going to allow for it as much. And that's just in general, that's my take. That's not to say to just do everything by the book, like, oh, I gotta just do 10 to 20 reps every set. If you've got a strategic reason where you're doing maybe 6 to 8 reps after you're, when you do that in order to get a little bit of a higher weight that you want, but you're not like doing, but it's not, but maybe you're already pretty pre-fatigued. Like maybe you're doing like more of a closer to a heavy compound movement, and it's just it's like you're already pretty warmed up. So you're gonna do 3 sets of, let's say it's a hack squat. Let's say it's a few sets of a barbell incline press, or whatever it is. That could be a strategic reason. Like, yeah, I'm going to go a little lower than 10 to 20 reps. I'm going to warm up with a couple of sets of 6 to 8. Then I'm going to get to my top set and do as many as I can, whether it be for 8 to 12 or 12 to 15, whatever. This is a more strategic way that us, especially us that are more advanced with lifting, that could have some wear and tear, that can lift heavy loads even when we're pre-fatigued and really well primed, and not just ego lifting, taking 1 reps, 2 reps, 3 reps on the way up to our top crazy sets. Like, this is a more strategic way that I would be smart to employ. This, and even for you younger lifters, you can be making gains with this as well. You don't need to go the route of ever just doing 1 to 3 rep feeder sets going up. That way you can lift an extra plate per side or more, maybe on your squats, and go home and tell your mama you had a great workout. I squatted it. guys, it's actually a form of ego lifting in a way. And yeah, when you're younger, you're gonna have lower risks to be doing that, but it still is not necessarily the most effective way either that you can be doing things. And I'm giving you information like if you do this stuff, like you can make gains with it, make good results, and then maybe at a certain time you're going to change how you're training and make adjustments to maybe not even my way, maybe a different kind of way of kind of what I'm advising. But the biggest thing is be aware with these risks, with just other things equal, more weight is more risk. Other things equal, a more warmed up and primed body is a body more ready to be lifting harder, whether it be with the heavier loads or the just more intense sets. That's just, and again, holding all the other variables equals. Those are just laws of the jungle, how it works. So just I'm teaching you this stuff so you be cognizant with it, and then you can make your own judgments based on your own risk tolerance and such. All right. And that's pretty much what I have to teach on this topic, you guys. So I'm not. Then again, to reiterate, I hate to just put anything like never do this, but I'd say overall I'm not a big fan of feeder sets for the kind of reasons I went over. But there are smarter ways you can employ them, and those that are younger lifters are not as much at risk where employing something like that is putting them at a huge injury risk. But just be cognizant of these things. Even if you're a younger lifter and trying this and you're having more injuries come up, time to start thinking if you got to be making adjustments to how you're doing things. Maybe time to start thinking with bringing on a coach who's years ahead of you as well, right? So anyways, guys, I really do genuinely hope this helps you. I'm always happy to teach my knowledge, things that you guys can take and apply for yourselves. And I thought this video was going to be shorter. I'm about twice the time I thought it would take, but I love teaching you guys this stuff and helping you. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Listen, please subscribe on here. Please like, comment, and engage with this video. I think apparently it helps the algorithm. Who knows? And if you have questions too, drop them in the comments, or you can also message me on Instagram. Please follow my Instagram too, but I am on my Instagram messages. You can get a hold of me through there with questions. It is at Nick Venuto Fitness. That's my Instagram. I'm going to put it in the, what is it called? The description below. And last thing, guys, if you could use help with figuring out not only matters of this, but how putting up this is workout programming stuff I've gone over. If you could use help with these kinds of things, I got my Calendly link below. Book a call if you're financially able to afford with coaching and you'd like to learn more. Love to get on a call with you if you may have interest. Again, guys, thanks so much. Please subscribe here and please stay tuned. Much more is coming. Okay. Hope you all have a great day.